saw. Well, so,
Oh, that's Tower of Evil. That's Secure Tower of Evil. It's a classic B movie. It's it it starts off with obviously zooming down on a miniature model of a lighthouse and Snape Island with the fog, and yeah, and it's like Candice Glendinning is the sole survivor of people going to this island, and Robin Atkinson he plays an American. They all get killed off apart from her. Um, and obviously Derek Folds is in it from from Heartbeat. And there's one scene where this bloke called Bron, he looks typical 70s stud. He goes upstairs, and there's one scene where I tell you, I says, I showed, didn't I? Says he must have a 14-inch cock. Look at that. It was levitated up in air and thrusting, wasn't he? She's going. He's like lifting up and then going. Ooh, she ooh, ah. And I thought, he had his ass about 14 foot up in fucking air. I thought, Jesus Christ, how big's this bloke's cock?
stop.
Isn't it? I mean, I know there's people who are well. I know there's people who are well catered in the trouser snake department, as Jim Morrison was, and apparently Liam Neeson, um, and that Ralph Fiennes, and that bloke who Fassbender. He was in the uh, Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Apparently, he's packing in the sausage department. But that bloke in uh, one is you must secure this one. It's classic B movie, Tower of Evil. Um, his must be about 22 inches long. I bet he could have shagged the front fucking door. You know, he, he, he must have a harpoon down his pants. Yeah, it's a good film, Tower of Evil. It really is a good film. Apparently, it didn't do well because it was classed as an exploitation film because there were like a bit of tit action, and all that, and obviously the bloke with the Zulu spear as a cock, who it could be in a different time zone. He would have been impaled by this exaggerated thrusting scene, but it is a good film. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's all shot in a studio. It's quite clear it's shot on a really low budget, but it's a good film. I would highly recommend Tower of Evil. You recognise a lot of the actors. Um, I think Jill Howarth, who a name keeps bringing up. I'm trying to think. Inseminoid, I'm not sure about Inseminoid. Definitely Satan's Slave is good. Uh, Candice Glendenning, who was in Tower of Evil, is also in that one. Um, Obviously, you've got the Flesh and Blood show coming, which is brilliant. The one that we both need to be looking for is now. Let's see if we can have a guess. It's the last. It's the last film that Pete Walker ever did before he retired to restore old theatres and piers. And it's the one that stars that actor. I always forget his bastard name. He's the one in. Now I've got to get this right. He's the one which I believe is the first story in Asylum. The one whose wife goes to the African spiritualist lessons, and he has a mistress called Bonnie, and he has the chest freezer in the basement. Him. He's in this film as the bloke who publishes the books of this author. And they have that bet, if you remember. The bet is that he can write a book in one night or 2 nights or something. And this is all I need is a nice, relaxing, maybe a house that can give me inspiration. Now, can you guess what film that is?
Nope.
Well, it stars Sheila Keith, Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, Julie Peasgood, I said about 82, 83 it come out.
House of a Long Shadows.
The House Along Shadows, you're correct. Oh, fuck's sake. It's not a stable environment, this. I really could do with my House Along Shadows. That's one of them films which is hard to get. I mean, you probably can get it, but you'll be looking at a super ridiculous price, which is why I never went for Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell, because the one that I saw, including P&P, was 18 bastard quid, and I thought, as much as I want it, because it would complete all the Hammer Frankenstein films, I ain't paying 18 quid for it. Not in all that is holy. Just taking piss. And you could get it and it'll be a DVD rip or it'll be a dodgy copy. I mean, you had that situation with another film, didn't you, that you were going to order, but the price was just too ridiculous. Can you remember what film that was? Remember, you sent me about 12 screenshots of films that you were after or ordered, and then you went to put the 13th one is too ridiculous, but I said there's only 12 pissing photographs. Was it? And then he said, oh no, it's this film. It was, the price they were asking was just beyond a joke, so he decided not to pursue it. Can you remember what film that was?
Creeping Flesh. 24 quid.
Oh, that's taking piss. Yeah, I've seen some films, right, especially on eBay, and you think, that's not a bad price. But then you see in the small print that it's almost exactly the same price just for postage and packaging, just because it's coming from America.
I borrowed it altogether.
But it's like eBay. I mean, I made that mistake once. You need to read it all. because there was one where it said DVD or whatever film it was, new or light new or new stroke other, or new. So you're thinking, oh great. But when it came, it might have actually been the Gorgon or the Skull, not the Skull, Captain Clegg. At first, I was furious. I thought they said it were new. When I went back onto the page and scrolled down amongst all the small print and the description, blah blah blah, it scrolled right down to fucking the bottom. It said it was a DVD rip. When I played it, as you know, I struck lucky with the Captain Clegg and the Gorgon, and thankfully they're good enough to keep. The only thing is, I don't get the extras because you've got Captain Clegg the original, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got the extras as well.
And what are the extras like?
I watched it.
See, at some point, I want to replace them with the official ones with the extras because, like a night to.
Gorgon hard.
Eh?
The Gorgon are really hard to get.
I think I can get it on Blu-ray. I've seen it on Blu-ray by the same company that released Britannia Hospital, which is a dark comedy by Lynn Jansen. It's Mark Hamill's in that, Graham Crowden, Brian Pettifer, I think he was in Rhapsody Nesbitt. Obviously Robin Asquith, he's in it. Leonard Rossiter, and I think Robin Asquith was touting that on his page, that this company was releasing it, a limited edition, which come with a 36-page booklet with notes and that. I ummed and ahed. I thought, well, would I be better off just getting the standard edition? Is it worth paying that X amount of money just for a fucking booklet? And I'm like, I don't really know if it's worth it, but no, I've got it now. That was another one that wouldn't play properly on the Blu-ray player. I mean, I thought I ain't. See, it's bad enough that I've chucked away The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. It's bad enough that I've chucked away Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, Disc 1. It's bad enough that I've chucked away Curse of the Crimson Altar on Blu-ray, which cost me a tenner. And a real kick in the bollocks was £7 that I spent on Tales of Witness Madness. Spit it out. I know you're bursting to laugh, you bastard. Come on.
Well, anymore?
Oh God. It nearly was Commando. Nearly.
Oh, yeah.
It's not. I kept it, luckily. But there was part of me wishing that I kept the original on DVD, but I thought, but when they all started to fail, because that's the point. I always had problems with Britannia Hospital. It took me sometimes 3 or 4 attempts to get the bastard to work. We'll call that kerfuffle out of a horror hospital. Me begging you, literally on my knees, begging you, could you give me back my copy, please, 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 pretty please? can I have it back? Oh, my Blu-ray's not working. It's defective. It's fucked. Blah blah blah. You know, spent £10 getting the bastard, and you give it back, and then you'll come up with a solution and what the problem was. I'm reckoning now it could be that because with these multiplayer things, um, one has a laser for Blu-rays and one has a different laser for DVDs. So, if it turns out that when you get your new player, try one of those discs that wouldn't play like Britannia Hospital or maybe Horror Hospital or maybe Commando, and if it plays all the way through, then it wasn't the two Blu-ray discs that were at fault. You remember your sarcastic replies? You remember, don't you? And then you're going, but then you get some other sarcastic replies that my discs are, where are they now? Oh yes, the Dump It site. And all the cheap replacements for your Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit that you got off eBay, and then you went and bought it digital as well.
Fuck you, that's it's pretty good kept in your pocket.
It would have been even cheaper if I'd have realised when I know this is old rope. Oh, before I go on to that, right, I want to cover this thing about these director's cuts. Now, what would be a legal term? There's a term for it. Point one. Robocop. Now, I have Robocop, which I may have got off eBay. And then you mentioned, oh, there's a director's cut of it. Right? What is it? 38 seconds? 48?
Yeah, it's not long, but
yeah, but it if it got to a point where I could say, okay, yeah, I'll get it, blah blah. But at the moment, I can't really justify, for the sake of 36 seconds, because it's a slightly enhanced death scene or wound, whatever. Like Commando, I've got the Blu-ray edition of Commando, which has both versions of the film on it. It's got the theatrical version and the director's version. The difference in that are less than a minute. Obviously, the impalement scene in the motel room, and Bennett's death scene with that pipe through him. You still got that bloody awful calypso music all the way through. Yeah, so that's that dealt with. The only difference is that with The Shining, 25 minutes of additional footage. Now, as a website points out, it's not significant, the difference. If you didn't know about it, you probably wouldn't notice. It's all it is. It's like some of the scenes where he's been into at the hotel. That's been trimmed off, but obviously that's been restored. And back at their apartment before they make the move, Danny, the young kid, is in. His mother has been interviewed by a psychologist woman. That's been cut from the film. So a lot of it's just like a bit of like chicken fat's been trimmed off. The version that we know. But this one that's on Blu-ray and DVD is an extra 25 minutes of footage. Um, so, a subject that I have touched on before, that is my epic journey with The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Now, I'll give you I saw the first two films when they first come out in Sheffield, and I remember the first one vaguely, but one of my memories is getting up after the film had finished and I couldn't feel my arse. It was numb. The second one I saw at a different cinema in Sheffield. I can't remember exactly where. I don't remember anything about it. I never saw the third one, and that was it. Of course, roll on. Many years. And I find myself with Bigusha at Sainsbury's near you. She has a little tittle around the two U section clothing. I have my usual tittle around the DVDs. There I see, to my surprise, it had flashbacks. Boom! 2 for £25. The Hobbit. Da-da-da-da. Trilogy. Boom! Lord of the Rings. Trilogy. I thought, oh, I'll ask them of that. I remember I watched the first one. And I'm going, yeah. So what do? I tells you about it. Oh, Jeff, I have oh, yeah, fucker. Jeff, I have Lord of the Rings. I have The Hobbit. You're going, well, what was your reply, if you can remember?
Great. What version have you got?
and I said to you, I'm not sure.
What the hell are you on about?
Yeah. And did you ask me about how long the films were? And your response was?
Oh, you got the theatrical versions.
And then I said, well, what does that mean in terms of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit? And you said,
I have extended versions.
yeah, but you also mentioned the difference between the theatrical version, more so of Lord of the Rings than The Hobbit. And I think one of them you said was the last one has over nearly
50 minutes of additional footage.
At which at that point I went, then you said something like, yeah, well, once you've like in terms of, you know, the phallic symbol quote of once you've had a black, you won't go back, and you know, and I went,
once you go along.
yeah, Because she said the first Lord of the Rings has got 42 minutes of extra footage. The second one's got, say, 45 minutes extra. And I'm like, so it's nearly 3 hours of extra footage just for the... Yeah. And I've got them as well. I've had them for quite a while. I'm like...
3 hours of extra footage. Hobbit is not extended, not so much really. Only about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But of the 6 films, looking at 4 hours, easy.
Yeah. I mean, so then, of course, what do? I'm sat there thinking, well, what the hell can I do? What do I do? What do I do? Oh, God. So then I looked at eBay and Amazon.
As you do.
As you do. What I should have done, maybe in hindsight, I should have gone for the Middle Earth collection, which is like what you've got. You get some documentaries.
Most important one, not all.
But what do I do?
You went full blown Jackson.
I went. Well, the version I got was pure. It was a mixture of Lex the Impaler and John Holmes.
After taking Viagra.
After taking Viagra and having a penis extension.
Too fucking much. And the extras outnumber the films by about 2 to 3 to 1, so it fucking run.
I'll be back in a sec, sir.